What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge. I am your host, Alan Bell. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. And I'll tell you what, before we get to our experts and breaking all things down, NFL Week 3, let's take a look at how we did on Saturday. You know what? Not too bad of a day. We ended up 14-10, 58%. I'll say this. John Bowman pulling weight for us. Tom Fornelli riding the Kansas train again. My man is just cashing tickets. And big shout out to Emery Hunt. He said earlier this week that he was going to nail some picks, buy a steamboat and the Wheel of Fortune wheel. And my man was not lying one bit about that. He crushed it. And I'll tell you what, you got some guys who are going to crush it as well. Let's go ahead. You know what? Let's bring in the stars of the show today. I'm fired up for it. First up, my man, RJ White. How we doing, sir?
Doing good. Excited for today. Bills Dolphins in Miami, probably one of the Bills' toughest games of the year. You know, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but it should be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun indeed. Maestro, my man. Looking sharp as always. Haircut looking great. How we doing, sir?
Great to be here. Appreciate you noticing, AB. Just good thing we didn't have a live mic before the show. We had a couple of technical difficulties. I'm glad we weren't mic'd up. Let's get to it.
Absolutely, man. Let's get to it indeed. And Maestro, I'm going to stay right there with you. So we have seen some significant line movement in the Jaguars at Chargers game. Bring us up to date. Where's the line moved? Why is it moved? And do we have resolution yet on Justin Herbert's status?
We don't have resolution, but the market expects him not to play. But I've seen a lot of misconceptions about this line, that it was 10 and it went to 3. Well, it was 10 before the two teams played last week, and then Justin Herbert got injured. There was an expectation he would play through it, and then the Jags looked amazing in dominating the Colts, and then we settled at 7 for the whole week. That's where we were going to be until kickoff, and then all of a sudden Friday, before any news was posted, people got information that Chase Daniel was taking the first team snaps at practice and that Justin Herbert was not out there, was not throwing. That line plummeted to 3.5. Then the reports came out that confirmed that, and we settled at 3. I was talking about this before the show. I would have to lean Jaguars even at 3. When you talk about Corey Linsley, the all-pro center, he is doubtful. J.C. Jackson is doubtful. Keenan Allen is questionable. So it's not just Justin Herbert who might not be out there. I should point out, though, in this scenario, 2.5 years, last 2+ years, the backups, when we've had a switch midweek, when we didn't know the starter was going to be out, those teams 8-2 against the spread, 6-4 straight up, and they usually rally. They often rally, but in this case, that defense of the Chargers is going to have to dominate.
Yes, they are. And I'll tell you what, one quick thing on the recap, I had a check mark beside Michigan. That is absolutely my fault. It is 13-11, not 14-10. Just wanted to clarify on that one. And yes, Maestro, that was a good nugget, by the way, you had on the quarterbacks there. Speaking of bringing it today, we have got a massive game between the Bills and the Dolphins in the AFC East. But my goodness, is anybody on defense playing for either team? RJ, man, break it down. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, the Bills' injuries are particularly what we're looking at here. The Bills are down their top 2 cornerbacks. Trey White hasn't played all year, still recovering from last year's injury. Dane Jackson went to the hospital last week. He's going to be down. Top 2 safeties out. Micah Hyde placed on IR with that neck issue, and Jordan Poyer, it sounds like he's not going to play. So the secondary is now all day 3 picks, plus Kyer Elam, this year's first-round pick. But he couldn't beat out Christian Benford for the job early. Christian Benford was a 6th-round pick, so not a lot of confidence in him. And so that situation, they're not great when you're facing the best receiver duo in the league in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. So maybe it's not as bad an issue as it was versus with this offense versus Baltimore. Maybe the Buffalo pass rush can get home and it doesn't matter, but it feels like it has to get home on every play because, if you can't get there and rattle Tua for a play, I mean, you can see busted coverages and Miami scoring long touchdowns. So it seems like a high scoring game here.
Yeah, it really does, right? And, we were talking before the show, like, it's fascinating that, oftentimes the NFL, when you have 2 really, really good offenses, you see unders hit because you see long, sustained 7.5, 8-minute, 8.5-minute drives that do end up in points, but you just don't have the opportunities when you have defensive players that are out. I mean, this could look more like a college game, especially with how Buffalo and Miami both like to spread defenses out. Okay, let's get into our picks for today, but before we do, let's take a quick break and hear from one of our partners. And we are back. All right, we have got a loaded slate for you today. Before we jump right into the picks, I want to make sure we are live at 12 p.m. Eastern today, breaking down all the early slate and afternoon slate NFL games for you. And then we will also be live tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, for our mega preview of Sunday Night Football. Make sure, turn your notifications on, and we will come at you in waves with picks. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please, we would love to see you join us right there in the chat. All right, let's get into our picks for today. RJ, my man, coming right back at you. You've got a good handful of picks here. One play, one teaser. Break them down, buddy. What you got?
Yeah, going back to that Miami game, the line has come down to 4.5 today. Dolphins team total now at 24.5. I like playing the Dolphins at 4.5. I liked it actually before the Buffalo game last week at 4.5, so I love it here. I like the Dolphins team total over, but I think the way to play these Buffalo injuries is Tua's pass touchdown prop and go over 1.5 pass touchdowns, because it's only minus 121. So it seems like 2 is pretty likely to me, and we're not paying that much juice. That 6 touchdown game last week, blame largely on the battered Baltimore secondary. Same situation here. And even if the Buffalo pass rush is largely winning, like I said, all it takes is a couple busted coverages, and Tua covers this number. So I like Tua there to go over his past touchdown prop. And then my teaser is Denver and Carolina. Denver up to plus 7.5, Carolina up to plus 8.5. The main thing here is I wanted to get a Denver play, and the line made a major move with San Francisco's quarterback upgrade and Denver's offense struggling perception-wise. But Denver's offense is actually top 7 in yards per play, both rushing and passing. They're just not scoring. And I think that that's something that they will get figured out, and that's not going to happen all year. Judy and Surtain should play key pieces on each side of the ball here. And Russell Wilson, 8-2 straight up versus Kyle Shanahan's 49ers, won the last 4 games, including 2 last year when they were underdogs in both games. I like Denver plus 1.5. Better to tease them, to get through the 3 and the 7. So I'm going to do it with Carolina as a defense that's playing well. Jameis looked brutal last week. I don't think New Orleans is going to score a ton of points in that game, in Carolina. So that's my teaser is Denver plus 7.5, Carolina plus 8.5.
There we go. I love it, man. I love it. All right, Maestro, coming over to you. Now, I've got some picks. I'll bring them in the recap because I want everybody to see the screen. But you know what? This is your spot, buddy. Bring us home, man. What you got?
All right, well, I have got a bunch of picks. I'm going to start with the Falcons over 19.5 points team total. This is an alternate total, minus 155 at MGM. I mean, look who they had to play. They had to play the Saints. They had to play the Rams, and now they get to face the Seahawks. You go from 2 of the best defenses in the NFL to possibly the worst, and you didn't travel. I like that they stayed out west. Drake London's been awesome. Kyle Pitts finally should show up today. You've got Patterson, you got Mariota. You have plenty of weapons. The weather is going to be good. 73 degrees, light wind, no rain. So I love the Falcons, especially without Jamal Adams on the back end, to get to 20 points today over 19.5. And then I got 3 props. Kirk Cousins over 2.5 passing touchdowns plus 160. Hasn't done it this season. Only did it 5 times last season. But you look at what he's done against the Lions, 14 TDs and 1 pick in his last 6 outings. They play a ton of man coverage. Kirk Cousins is much better at man coverage. He has a pass-happy coach. Finally, and you've got him going from a terrible primetime spot. We know how bad he is under pressure in primetime. Now he should not have a lot of pressure because the Lions pass rush is down a couple of guys, and it's 1 p.m. Eastern. This is just a prime bounce back spot. I think he's going to get 2 or 3, and I think the value is taking the over 2.5 to try to get the plus 160. And then a couple of rushing props I love. Back to the Falcons game with Cordarrelle Patterson over 41.5 rush yards, got 10 carries last week. Very disturbing that they gave the rookie 10 carries as well, but he didn't do anything with them, only 30 yards. Again, facing a terrible defense in the Seahawks, 41.5, and he's going to get double-digit carries. Seems like a no-brainer to me. I wouldn't mind his combined rushing receiving at 61.5 also, but his touches in the passing game have not been that great so far this season. So I'm going to stick with the rushing. And then Khalil Herbert, Prop Stars is on this. A lot of sharp people are on this. Over 21.5. The kid is averaging over 6 yards a carry. The Bears do not want to throw. They've had 40 dropbacks in 2 games, which is kind of crazy. I believe Justin Fields has completed only 15 passes. Again, you're facing the worst run defense in the league. This is a game where they can run the ball a ton with Montgomery, but Herbert to get 21.5, to get 22 yards, he might just need 4 or 5 carries. I think he'll get about 7 or 8. This number has gone way up I would play it up to like 24.5 if you can get that at this point. And AB, I think that's it. I don't have notes in front of me. I think that's all my picks.
Dude, you just railed that. That was awesome, man. Like, that was a fantastic job. And I feel you on both Khalil Herbert and Cordarrelle Patterson. Now, quick question for you guys. And you don't have to have an answer because I'm throwing it at you, just, paint at a wall here. We've got question in the chat in regards to promos that sportsbooks have in regards to a team that's going to go up 7-0 early in their game, okay? Looking at the slate, like, to be completely honest with you, I would look at either the Eagles against the Commanders, especially if they get the ball, because the Commanders' rush defense so far this season is giving up the most yards in the league, and the Eagles are running it at the highest clip in the league. And also, what was the other one I was looking at here? I don't know how comfortable I feel with it, but the Rams own the Cardinals and have ever since Sean McVay got there. But then again, with the Cardinals, be careful on that one. Maestro, yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, McVay is 10-1 against the number versus the Cardinals, but I would look at the Vikings. When you look at that first drive they had with Kevin O'Connell against the Packers, 10 plays, I think it was like 78 or 80 yards, scripted beautifully, went down the field at home for the first touchdown. I like that one to go up 7-0.
I like it. RJ, any thoughts you have?
I mean, Bills and Dolphins are obvious ones. I think if you look to that game tomorrow and you look at the Cowboys game, Cooper Rush came in and had 2 amazing drives starting out in that game. Looks like they are able to plan with him well and script well, and then he gets into trouble once they get through their package of what they've decided to do early in the game. So you might get good value there going with the Cowboys there to go up 7-0, thinking that they're going to do their scoring early.
I love it. That's why you two are the best, man. I appreciate it, everybody. All right, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Let's take a look at the recap here. It does look glorious. The Maestro on the Falcons team total over 19.5. Kirk Cousins over 2.5 pass touchdowns. Khalil Herbert over 21.5 rushing yards. Cordarrelle Patterson over 41.5 rushing yards. RJ White, Tua Tagovailoa over 1.5 passing TDs. A teaser, Broncos plus 7.5. The Panthers plus 8.5. In the no-fly zone today, Josh Allen over half an interception. Trevor Lawrence over half an interception. Matthew Stafford over half an interception. Tom Brady over half an interception, and Baker Mayfield over half an interception as well. But it doesn't stop there. Look at all the picks that we've got going through today. Maestro's on the 49ers at a pick'em, and Miles Sanders over 63.5 rushing yards from earlier this week. Mike McClure, teaser, Chiefs minus half a point, and the Chargers -1, a moneyline parlay. Chiefs and Eagles -108, Ravens -3, 49ers moneyline. RJ White from earlier in the week as well. Bengals -4.5. Falcons +2, Teasers, Texans +8.5, and Titans +8.5. But it doesn't stop there. From Friday's prop show, prop stars, Michael Carter over 2.5 receptions, Garrett Wilson over 45.5 receiving yards, Rashad Bateman over 46.5 receiving yards, Jeff Wilson over 55.5 rushing yards, Tom Brady under 247 passing yards, Uncle Dave in his tracksuit, Travis Etienne over 2.5 receptions, Mac Jones longest completion under 36.5 yards, Zach Ertz longest completion under 17.5 yards, Jalen Waddle over 62.5 receiving yards, Carson Wentz over 36.5 passing attempts, and our man Sia Najad, Jalen Waddle over 61.5 receiving yards, Devontae Smith over 44.5 receiving yards, Breece Hall over 27.5 rushing yards, Michael Carter under 40.5 rushing yards. And fellas, that is enough hearing me for about a month. Yeah, Maestro, go ahead, buddy.
AB, do we have a look-ahead line to talk about?
We absolutely do. I'm glad that you brought that up. Our man RJ White looking ahead to week 4. All right, the Giants and the Bears. Giants -3. RJ, take it away, buddy. What do you got?
Chicago, I played against Chicago last week in the look ahead. I took Houston +3. For a while, it looked good. Now it's back up to +3 for some reason. I guess people are not convinced that Chicago is very, very bad. Chicago might be the worst team in the league. This week, they're facing an underrated Houston defense. The Giants don't play till Monday, so they're still going to be 2-0 when this line reopens tonight. So this is all on Chicago. If that Chicago offense looks bad against Houston, how will the Giants only be laying 3 points as an undefeated team? I know that people don't believe in them. They think that 2-0 because of their point total and the offense doesn't look great isn't that impressive, but still 2-0 is 2-0. And so if the Giants go out and win Monday in a game that's basically a coin flip, this line can shoot up to 6 after Monday if Chicago's offense looks bad. So I think -3 is great value here. I would lay it with the Giants before the action today.
I love it. I love it indeed. You know what else I love? Oh, my God. Look at this. The man has ruined my flow. What in the world?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, you can hear me. So I actually ruined your flow. One time. I got to tell you, me and these construction workers, we're going to have issues. But I'm sure the show was great. I'm sure you guys all sounded great, but I had to come on because you can't end a weekend NFL Sunday show without this. There's only one thing left to do. And you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. We'll see you at 10. No. That's my time. Noon Eastern time, counting down all the 1 o'clock and 4:15 games. You've got your marching orders twice. Let's take all these tickets straight to the pay window. New headphones? Oh, I don't know. For all my crew, love them all. The stoic one, RJ White, the maestro and AB. He is literally our 5-tool player. I am the coach. We never stop grinding or trying to get equipment to work. Right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.